Hello and good evening, friends, and welcome to another edition of Strictly Sports NFL Saturday. I am your host, Anthony Florio, joined as always by good old MF Michael Fletcher. I'm not sure if Michael Bullock will be with us this evening. I've sent him the invite. If he comes in, we'll catch him up on what he missed. If not, then we should have him back with us Monday night for Ridiculously Raw. But a lot of another week, another round of changes to the schedule, and we'll address all that in a little bit. But for right now, let's get into Thursday night football that kicked off Week 5, and what a game this ended up being. A renewal of one of the great rivalries in NFL history, of an old NFC Central Division rivalry. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Chicago Bears this past Thursday night at Soldier Field in Chicago, and the Chicago Bears won the game by a score of 20-19. The Bears improved to 4-1 on the year. Bucks dropped to 3-2. Nick Foles, 30 of 42, 243 yards, one touchdown, one interception. David Montgomery had a rushing touchdown, only 29 yards. Jimmy Graham had the receiving touchdown for Chicago. Allen Robinson was the leading receiver with 90 yards. Defense recording 3 sacks of Tom Brady and no interceptions. And that's pretty much all there is. And on the other side, Tom Brady, 25 of 41, 253 yards, one touchdown, no interceptions. Ronald Jones, the second, 106 yards rushing. And Mike Evans had the receiving touchdown for Tampa. Tyler Johnson was the leading receiver with 61 yards. Defense also recorded 3 sacks, but they also had 1 interception. And those are the numbers. And there's been a lot of stink going around social media about how Tom Brady at the end of the game misread the down, and a lot of people are making a big deal about it, and it is what it is. But nonetheless, Nick Foles beats Tom Brady for a second time. We all remember Super Bowl 52. Nick Foles with the Philadelphia Eagles over Brady's New England Patriots, 41-33 in that incredible game. So all I know is our dear friend Matt Ward's got to be very happy with this outcome, because his Bears are now 4-1. They're right in the thick of the race in the Central, even though they're looking up at Green Bay, who's unbeaten. But we'll have to wait and see on that. So not much more to say on that. So good old MF Michael Fletcher, come on in. Chicago Bears, 20-19 winners over Brady and the Bucks on Thursday night. Bears now 4-1, and I'm sure Matt Ward's got to be very happy about that.
Not only Matt Ward, but a couple of people that I know that are big fans of the Chicago Bears, and they're very happy with what the outcome turned out to be. Yeah, this was an excellent game, and this is a big win for them as well. They needed it to win. They needed that to happen, and it was really a tough game. It was really more the Bears defense holding Tampa down just enough to give Nick Foles and the offense enough opportunities to win the game. So yeah, this was a big win for them. So there's really nothing more to add. Big victory for a big victory for Chicago, and now it's upward and onward. So they're hoping for the best, and yeah. So there's really nothing more to add, Anthony. So yes, big win, and let's move on.
And we will move on in just a moment. But before I do, um, just for clarification here, next week the Chicago Bears will be on the road. Chicago, they will be going to Carolina to take on the Carolina Panthers. But Tampa, next week they go home and they host the Green Bay Packers. Whoa.
That's going to be a good game. That could be a game of the week type matchup right there.
It's Fox's America's game of the week.
Well, there you go.
425. 425 kickoff, Raymond James Stadium. No question about it. I mean, looking at the schedule for next week, I mean, I can honestly say hands down on either. Well, there's one other game. There's one game. Well, there's a couple of games on our end that looks good, but as far as the grand scheme of things, you would have to consider it one. It's definitely in the top three. We'll put it that way. It's top three material. So with all that being said, let's dive right on into week number 5, and we're going to start it off with a matchup of the Carolina Panthers squaring off against the Atlanta Falcons from Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. This game will be over on Fox, and it'll be Chris Myers with Brock Heward and Jennifer Hale. Atlanta opening up as a 2.5-point favorite. I can't understand that for the life of me, but they are. And just give me 1 second here. All right, that's all set now. So, all right. Series history favors the Atlanta Falcons by a count of 32-18. Matter of fact, the Falcons have won each of the last 5 meetings in a row against Carolina. Carolina has not won in Atlanta since 2014, rather. That was a 34-3 beatdown. But Atlanta has won the last 5 meetings in a row at home against Carolina. So with that being said, let's get into Carolina and Atlanta as we kick off week number 5's action. What to watch for? The Falcons desperately need a win with Dan Quinn's job status in limbo, but the coach has preached to his team that the first NFC South game offers a chance for a new start. Although wide receiver Julio Jones' health situation remains unclear as he comes off a hamstring injury, the Falcons are on track to get some key players back in A.J. Terrell, Ricardo Allen, and Takaris McKinley. The sense of desperation should have the Falcons clicking better in the first home game with fans. Bold prediction, although I don't really think this is a bold prediction on my end, the Panthers will leave Atlanta above 500. That is about as bold as it gets for a team that started the year 0-2, opened as a 2.5-point underdog to an 0-4 team, and hasn't won at Atlanta since 2014. But the Panthers have momentum with 2 straight wins. Stat to know, the Falcons are 0-4 for the first time since 1999, and a loss to Carolina would mark their first 0-5 start since 1997. What to know for fantasy? Carolina running back Mike Davis is averaging 7 receptions per game this season, not much different than the 7.3 grabs Christian McCaffrey averaged during his historic 2019 season. The betting nugget, Panthers quarterback Teddy Bridgewater is 18-4 against the spread and 11-11 outright in his career as an underdog. Atlanta is the FPI favorite at 55%, but I'm sorry, I cannot trust this team as far as I can throw them. I'm going with the Carolina Panthers to win this game. My final score, 30-24. Carolina beats Atlanta. So nothing more to say. MF, I mean, I don't know about you, but if there's one team in the NFL that I cannot trust this year for the life of me, it's the Atlanta Falcons. Until they win, I can't trust them.
And granted, I agree with you with that, Anthony. But what does Carolina have? Absolutely nothing. Only Teddy Bridgewater. There's no Christian McCaffrey. There's no lack of a running game. Their receiving core is average, is suspect at best. Their defense can't stop anybody. I mean, okay, I get it. Atlanta is one of those teams that does great during the game and then fourth quarter falls apart. Now, that could be, bad management by Dan Quinn. That could be, bad play calling offensive coordinator. Defense gets tired because they're out there early in the game and they kind of burn out and lose their momentum. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that can happen. But with Matt Ryan as the quarterback, with Todd Gurley as the running back, if Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley gets themselves underneath them, and that's the thing, Julio's been hurt lately, but he is supposed to play on Sunday. So that's one major player that you're going to get. I understand why the FPI's got Atlanta winning. I understand why Atlanta is a favorite because talent-wise, they're more superior than the Carolina Panthers. Now, if Christian McCaffrey was playing, I would straight up say all the way, I'll give you Carolina, and I agree. This is the one rare time I'm going to disagree with you, Anthony. I do believe the Falcons have learned their lesson. I do believe that they actually are going to turn it around and win this game on Sunday, because I got no hope for Teddy Bridgewater and that Carolina Panther team. They are basically a sorry excuse of a team right now because they lost their mega superstar. If McCaffrey's on the field, Carolina wins easily. Because he's not there, Carolina has no hope. Sorry, Atlanta wins. It's yours.
Oh wow, I didn't even think about that. So but anyways, let's get into our next matchup here, and we go over to our side of the ledger on the mothership. AFC North battle, the Cincinnati Bengals squaring off against the Baltimore Ravens from M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore. On CBS, the legendary Greg Gumbel with Rich Gannon and Amanda Balionis. They will be on the call for that one. And Baltimore opening up as an 11.5-point favorite. Can't say we're surprised by that stat line. And in Baltimore leads the all-time series 25-23. And the Ravens have won the last 3 meetings in a row against Cincinnati, including the last 2 years at home, 23-17 last year. Last time Cincy won in Baltimore, we'll never forget it. It was that wild Week 17 game in 2017 when Cincinnati won from 4th and 12 down. That sent my Bills to the playoffs, which I will never forget that day for as long as I live. But nonetheless, MF, I don't see that happening this time around. Baltimore, 11.5-point favorite. They got back on track against Washington. Since he did get their first win, they got their first win beating Jacksonville last week. But MF, come on. It's the Ravens. They're at home. They're back on track. 11.5 points. It's got to be the lock of the week.
Lock of the week, most definitely. But I do believe that it will be Baltimore to win. They should be able to get the job done, and they should win the game. No problem. There's really nothing more to add, Anthony. The one thing I would say is Bridgewater will be fine. I think he'll make a good play out of it. But other than that, that's it. So nothing more to add. Yes, Baltimore wins. It's yours.
I think you meant Burrow, not Bridgewater. But anyways, what to watch for? Can Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow continue his unprecedented start this week against the Ravens? He set an NFL record last Sunday by becoming the first rookie quarterback in NFL history to throw for 300 or more yards in 3 straight games. Since John Harbaugh became coach of the Ravens in 2008, Baltimore is 12-1 against rookie quarterbacks at home, allowing just 4 to surpass 300 yards passing. The Ravens also have recorded 16 interceptions against rookie starters in Baltimore during the Harbaugh era, while producing 5 times as many sacks, 36, as touchdown passes given up, 7. Bold prediction, the Ravens will rush for 200 total yards. One of the strongest rush offenses in the league is going up against one of the league's worst rushing defenses. Between that and the rushing ability of Baltimore quarterback Lamar Jackson, it could be a big day for the Ravens' ground game. Stat to know, the Bengals have not gone 3 straight games without a loss in a single season since starting 8-0 in 2015, and they haven't had consecutive wins since weeks 4 and 5 of the 2018 season. What to know for fantasy? Cincinnati running back Joe Mixon has failed to average over 4 yards a carry in 4 straight matchups with the Ravens. In those games, he has averaged 3.1 yards a carry, with no rush gaining more than 21 yards. Betting nugget, Jackson is 4-8 against the spread as a home favorite since becoming the Ravens starting quarterback in 2018. Baltimore, the overwhelming FPI favorite, 81.6%. It's all Baltimore all the time. 40-21. Baltimore all over Cincinnati. So there's really nothing more to say on this matchup. So let's move on to our next game, which, we move on to the Zonk game of the week on our side of the ledger. No doubt about this one. The Jacksonville Jaguars squaring off against the Houston Texans from NRG, formerly Reliant Stadium in Houston. On CBS, Andrew Catalan, James Lofton, and Sherry Burris will be on the call. And Houston opening up as a 5.5-point favorite, which I can't say I'm surprised by that line. Series history, it favors the Houston Texans 23-13. And matter of fact, the Texans have done very well against Jacksonville lately. They won they swept the last 2 years, which means they won 4 in a row against Jacksonville, including a game in London last year. But Jacksonville has not won in Houston since 2017. That was a 29-7 win. Houston's won the last 2 years at home. So Zonk game of the week, Jacksonville squaring off against Houston. So let's dive on into this. All right. What to watch for? The Texans have not topped 23 points even once in 4 games this season. But the Jaguars have allowed 30 or more in 3 straight games. Will Houston's offense rebound in the first game since the firing of Bill O'Brien on Monday? This is their best matchup of the season so far and a good place to get going after a lackluster start. Bold prediction, Houston quarterback Deshaun Watson will throw for 330-plus yards and 4 touchdowns. The Jaguars' pass defense has been bad over the past month. They can't get pressure, and the coverage has been spotty at best. Watson should have no trouble moving the ball, and even if rookie cornerback C.J. Henderson plays, he is dealing with a shoulder injury and has been just okay after an impressive debut in the season opener. Stat to know, Romeo Crennel will become the oldest head coach in NFL history. The Texans' interim coach will be 73 years, 115 days old on Sunday. Only George Halas and Marv Levy have coached the game at over 70 years of age, per the Elias Sports Bureau data. What to know for fantasy? Jacksonville tailback James Robinson joins Alvin Kamara as the only players with 100 total yards in each of the past 3 weeks. And the betting nugget, teams that replaced their head coach during the season are 14-22 against the spread in the first game with their successor since 2000, 13-23 straight up. Houston is the FPI favorite, 66.6%. I'm going with the Houston Texans to win this game, 31-20. Houston beats Jacksonville, gets their first win. So nothing more to say. MF, I mean, you and Michael Bullock for the longest time have been calling for Bill O'Brien's head. Well, this past Monday, you both got what you wanted. He's out. Romeo Crennel's in. How will that help Houston?
Yeah, so now we don't know. We actually don't know if it's going to help them or not. We don't know what type of damage that was done. Obviously, they're going to work their way up. Obviously, they're going to, want to really, help this team and get a nice win for Romeo Crennel. But you're going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars team that, I kind of feel like this is their make or break moment as well. They did let one down against the Miami Dolphins a couple of weeks ago. That kind of got away from them. And we're just going to wait and see how this plays out. But yeah, no, honestly, I truly believe this will happen. And there's really nothing more to add. So yeah, I'm going to go with this is going to be tough, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to say that it's going to be Jacksonville to win. So there's really nothing more to add. So Anthony, it's yours.
We go from the Zonk game of the week to one of our top games of the week on our side of the ledger. This is in the top 3. I mean, I'm debating on whether this should be 2 or 3 because there's another game that I feel, should be in the conversation for the top 3 because both of these teams in that other game, which we'll get into later, definitely deserves top billing as far as I'm concerned because of how well and how surprising both of them have been. But you know what? I think I might consider this the number 3 game, and I'm sure MF will have no qualms about it, but it is still a top 3 game. The Las Vegas Raiders squaring off against the Kansas City Chiefs, Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. Iron Eagle, Charles Davis, Evan Washburn, they will be on the call. And no big surprise here, the Super Bowl champs, 11.5-point favorites. That's absolutely no surprise whatsoever. And a lot of history here between these two legendary AFL rivals. Kansas City leads the all-time series 65-52 with 2 ties. And the Chiefs have won the last 5 meetings in a row against the Raiders. including at Arrowhead. The Raiders have not won in Arrowhead since 2012. That was a 26-16 final. But every year since 2013, the Kansas City Chiefs have beaten the Raiders at Arrowhead, including a 40-9 beatdown. Matter of fact, the last 2 years combined, they have outscored the Raiders at home. Kansas City has 75-12. So that's definitely something to think about on that front. So there's nothing more to say. MF, top 3 game of the week. I mean, Raiders, Chiefs, Arrowhead, Super Bowl champs. Raiders started good. They started 2-0, but they faltered. They've lost 2 in a row. And meanwhile, the Chiefs, well, they're playing like the Super Bowl champs. No hangover in sight. No way.
Yeah, no hangover in sight. They've been dominating. They've been playing great. They've been looking like the Super Bowl champions. And up to this point, nobody's really given them any threat, any problems, anything. So, yeah, at the end of the day, I still believe that it is all about Kansas City right now. Patrick Mahomes and all them boys, I kind of feel like the Chiefs will just dominate the game, even though I think the Raiders will put a fight in the first half, but Kansas City will just romp them in the second half. So Kansas City wins. Florio, go.
Yeah, it's Kansas City. There's no doubt about this. As soon as I can get it up here. I do apologize. This is something I'm used to. The slowness and automatic refreshing, and yep, there's the refresh. Yep, I knew that was coming. Okay, so here we go. Oh, come on. All right. What to watch for? Can Raiders quarterback Derek Carr improve his play at Arrowhead Stadium? That would seem necessary if the Raiders are to beat the Chiefs in Kansas City for the first time since 2012. Carr is 0-6 against the Chiefs on the road with 4 touchdown passes, 7 interceptions, a QBR of 14.4, and a long pass of 33 yards. The Chiefs have changed players, coordinators, systems, and tactics against Carr, and everything has continued to work. The Raiders have been outscored 75-12 in the last 2 games against the Chiefs at Arrowhead since Patrick Mahomes became Kansas City's starting quarterback. Bold prediction: Carr will not be picked off and will extend his interception-free streak to 9 games. The last time Carr was intercepted was December 1st, 2019, when he was picked off twice at Arrowhead Stadium. But he is completing passes at a 73.6% clip this season with short, safe throws, and he will have to control the ball to keep Mahomes off the field. Stat to know, Mahomes' 89.1 total QBR against the Raiders is his highest against any team that he has played more than once. And his 11 passing touchdowns in 4 games in which he went 4-0 is the highest total he has against any NFL team. What to know for fantasy? Chiefs wide receiver Tyreek Hill is the first Kansas City player with at least 6 targets and a touchdown reception in 4 straight games since Dwayne Bowe did it in 5 straight in 2010. All 4 batting nugget, all 4 Raider games have gone over the total this season. Kansas City, 82.1% FPI favorite. Kansas City wins. No doubt about this one. MF is right. It's 27-17. Kansas City will knock off Vegas and send the Raiders to a 3rd straight loss after that 2-0 start. So nothing more to say. Let's move on to our next matchup, and we're going to head on back over to Fox for these next couple of games here. We have the Arizona Cardinals squaring off against the New York Jets. MetLife Stadium, East Rutherford, New Jersey, in the Meadowlands. It'll be Kevin Kugler with Chris Spielman and Laura Oakman. Arizona opening up as a 7-point favorite. The Jets lead the all-time series 6-3. Last meeting was 2016. Arizona snapping a 6-game losing streak to the Jets with a 28-3 win at University of Phoenix Stadium. They last met in New York in 2012. Jets won that one 7-6. Ugly game. The Cardinals have only won at the Jets once. And you got to go all the way back to 1975. That's the last time Arizona, well, actually, they were the St. Louis Cardinals at that point. They beat the New York Jets 37-6. I don't even think Giant Stadium was built yet in 75. But but 75 was the last time Arizona came out of the Jets with a win. So nothing more to say on that. So let's get into the Cardinals and the Jets here, which you can make an argument is Fox's Zonk game of the week. What to watch for? Forget about elite. Jets quarterback Joe Flacco, starting for the injured Sam Darnold, will be hard-pressed to reach quote-unquote average. He hasn't started a game in nearly a year, and he has had very little practice time after missing training camp. A rusty, immobile quarterback behind a leaky offensive line is not a good combination. The Jets are 31st in red zone efficiency, while the Arizona defense is 4th. Do the math. Bold prediction, the Cardinals will put up 40 on the lowly Jets, who are allowing 32.8 points a game, the third most in the NFL. The Cardinals are averaging 24.5 points a game, but their offense is due for a breakout after struggling over the past 2 weeks. And what's a better time to do it than against one of the worst teams in football? Stat to know, Arizona wideout DeAndre Hopkins has 39 receptions, which leads the NFL. He needs 9 against the Jets to break the record for the most catches through a team's first 5 games of a season. What to know for fantasy? Arizona quarterback Kyler Murray and Buffalo quarterback Josh Allen are the only 2 players, regardless of position, with at least 21 fantasy points in all 4 weeks this season. Betting nugget, the Jets are 0-4 against the spread this season. They are failing to cover games by 10.5 points a game, the worst cover differential in the NFL this season. Arizona, 57.1% FBI favorite. How it's not higher is beyond me, but it is what it is. But nonetheless, I got the Arizona Cardinals. This is another lock of the week. 42-28, Arizona. No trouble with the Jets whatsoever. So, MF, nothing more to say. Here's a perfect bounce back for Arizona. I mean, they started 2-0. They've lost 2 in a row. And I can't think of a better way for this team to finally bounce back than taking on who I consider the worst team in the NFL by a country mile. These hapless Jets. Oh, boy, do they suck.
Yeah, and the thing is now they got Joe Flacco as their starting quarterback, so you don't know what you're going to expect from him or what you're going to get. So yeah, absolutely no doubt about it. I got the Cardinals bouncing back and winning this game. They should win it, and there's really nothing more to add here. So yeah, give me the Cardinals. They'll win it, and let's just move on. Floyo, it's yours.
Don't worry, MF. We're going to be moving on to a much better game here. It's also on Fox, and it's a battle of the Keystone State, a battle of Pennsylvania. The Philadelphia Eagles squaring off against the Pittsburgh Steelers at Heinz Field in Pittsburgh. This game will be over on Fox, and on the call, on the call for that one, it will be Kenny Albert with Jonathan Vilma and Shannon Spake. Pittsburgh opening up as a 7-point favorite, and whoa. Okay, my thing hooked on me for a moment, but nonetheless, I do believe Pittsburgh leads the all-time series. I just want to be sure on this. I do believe that it is Pittsburgh who leads it. Grief. All right, here we go. Wow, they played a lot more times than I thought. All right. No, I stand corrected. Philadelphia leads the all-time series, 47-28 with 3 ties. Their last meeting was 2016 in Philadelphia. Eagles won going away 34-3. Their last meeting in Pittsburgh was 2012. Pittsburgh won 16-14. Eagles last won in Pittsburgh in the year 2000. 26-23 in overtime. I believe that was at the old Three Rivers Stadium. I think that was the last year before Heinz Field opened. So there's nothing more to say. MF, Philadelphia got their first win, but I mean, a very impressive first win against San Francisco. But Pittsburgh is back at home. They had to miss last week because of Tennessee and their COVID issues, but Pittsburgh's going to be ready to fight now.
Oh yeah, and not only that, but Pittsburgh's got one of the best, a great team to work with. So yeah, obviously this is not going to be an easy game to call. This will not be an easy game to predict. But I got to go with Pittsburgh, man. Pittsburgh is just loaded on so many fronts. So I got them winning it. So yeah, nothing more. Pittsburgh wins, and Florio, it's yours.
Agreed. Um, as soon as I can get it. All right. What to watch for? The Steelers are fired up after not getting to play last week because of a COVID-19 outbreak in Tennessee. The team was on a roll to start the season at 3-0 and looking to go 4-0 for the first time since 1979, a season that ended in a Super Bowl victory or a Super Bowl championship. Look for the Steelers to unleash the frustration of last week while also trying to get back into the rhythm of a balanced offense and a complementary defense they established 2 weeks ago against the Texans. Bold prediction, the Steelers and Eagles will combine for 8 total sacks. Philadelphia at 17 and Pittsburgh 15 are numbers 1 and 2 in sacks at the quarter mark of the season. The pass rush that comes up the biggest on Sunday will swing the outcome of this game. One particular matchup to keep an eye on is Eagles left tackle Jordan Mailata against Bud Dupree. Mailata is making his second career start, and Dupree has registered 2.5 takedowns through 3 games this season. Stat to know, Pittsburgh quarterback Ben Roethlisberger has 7 passing touchdowns through his team's first 3 games, whereas Philadelphia's quarterback Carson Wentz has 7 interceptions through his squad's opening 4 games. Wentz's 7 picks are the most in the NFL. What to know for fantasy? Since week 15 of the 2017 season, just once has a player rushed for 90 yards against the Steelers in Pittsburgh. Betting nugget, Philadelphia is 3-0 against the spread against Pittsburgh since 2008. Pittsburgh is the FPI favorite, 67.9%. I think it's going to be a closer game than you think. I'm going with Pittsburgh to win, 24-20. I got Pittsburgh eking it out against Philadelphia, so nothing more to say. Let's move on to our final 1 o'clock game of the week. It'll be the Los Angeles Rams squaring off against the Washington Redskins at FedEx Field, or I should say the Washington football team. I beg your pardon. Los Angeles Rams, Washington football team at FedEx Field in Landover, Maryland on Fox. Brandon Gaudin, Daryl Moose Johnston, Pam Oliver. Brandon Gaudin is filling in for Kevin Burkhardt because of his Major League Baseball playoff commitments, just to let you know. And he was even on the college football show today. So Kevin Burkhardt will not be with the Moose and Pam Oliver. But anyways, the spread favors the Rams. Rams opening up as a 7-point favorite. Washington, though, leads the all-time series 24-11 with a tie. Redskins have won the last 2, or I should say the Washington football team has actually won the last 2 meetings against the Rams, including in Los Angeles in 2017 and their last meeting in Washington in 2015. The Rams' last win in Washington was in 2014, and they haven't won in Washington as the LA Rams since 1987. But anyways, LA Rams, Washington football team. Let's get into this. What to watch for? All eyes will be on new Washington starting quarterback Kyle Allen's performance. Washington benched Dwayne Haskins Jr. after 4 lackluster games with concerns about his maturation as an NFL quarterback. Allen knows the offense better, having played under Ron Rivera with the Panthers, and the coaches are hoping Allen makes the plays they feel have been available. But Allen has to take care of the ball. He turned it over 15 times in his last 7 starts with Carolina in 2019. That includes 3 lost fumbles, so he must do a better job against a team that ranks 5th in the NFL with 12 sacks. Bold prediction, Rams running back Darrell Henderson Jr., who was quiet in week 3, will break out for the second 100-yard rushing game of his career. The Rams are coming off an uninspiring offensive performance against the Giants, so watch for LA to establish the running game early against a Washington team that is allowing an average of almost 130 rushing yards a game. Stat to know, Washington is just 33.3% in converting on third down this season, the worst mark in the NFL. And that's actually an improvement from 2019 when it was 29.1%, also last. What to know for fantasy? Washington running back Antonio Gibson has a rushing score and at least 12 touches in 3 straight games. During those 3 games, his 1.16 PPR points per touch ranks 8th among qualifiers, ahead of Dalvin Cook, among others. Betting nugget, the Rams are 6-2 against the spread as a road favorite of at least 6 points under Sean McVay. Betting nugget, the Rams, yes, I just covered that, all right. Rams are the FPI favorite, just about 71% going with the Rams. No surprise here. I'm going with the Rams to win as well. 32-17. I got the Rams knocking off Washington. So nothing more to say. MF, I mean, the Rams, they're rolling. Washington football team, not so much after that impressive opener against Philly.
Yeah, I gotta go with the Rams as well. I kind of feel like they're gonna be definitely looking a lot more better, a lot more stronger. Um, it's a tough game. It's a tough matchup. There's no doubt about it. But I will say this: I'm gonna go with the LA Rams to win the game as well. There's really nothing more to add here. So, Anthony, it's yours.
And we move on to the late games, MF, and you'll be starting it off. And it's only fitting because it's going to be your team, the Miami Dolphins. And they're going to be squaring off against the San Francisco 49ers at Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara, outside of San Francisco. Over on Fox, this is a game you would normally get on CBS, but it got cross-flexed over to Fox. Adam Amin, Mark Schlereth, Lindsey Zarniak on the call. San Francisco opening up as an 8-point favorite. And the series history favors the Miami Dolphins 7-5. Their last meeting was 2016 in Miami, and the Dolphins actually won 31-24. Last meeting in San Francisco was 2012. San Fran won 27-13. The Dolphins last won in San Francisco in 2004. That was a 24-17 final. And of course, we all remember these two teams met in Super Bowl 19 in Palo Alto at Stanford Stadium. San Fran all day, 38-16, Montana over Marino. So nothing more to say. MF, I'll give you boys credit. You guys hung with Seattle, but you just couldn't get over the hump. What can you do against an equally dangerous Niner team, especially in San Fran?
It's going to be a lot more difficult because of the fact that the Niners are going to have a lot of their players back. Kittle is coming back. So is possibly Debo Samuel. Possibly, we're talking about also, you also got another team like, you got possibly Jimmy Garoppolo coming back. So there's a lot of teams, a lot of threats for the 49ers. Miami, look, you got to give credit where credit's due. They hung against Seattle. It's just they made too many mistakes at the end. Um, it can go either way, but I do believe San Fran is just a far more superior team, and I think they're going to get the job done. So, I really got nothing more to add here. I'm actually going to say that I got the 49ers winning this game, and there's really nothing more to add. So, Anthony, it is yours.
Yeah. Sorry, man. I'm unfortunately gonna have to agree with you. It's gonna be the Niners, no doubt about it. What to watch for? How will the 49ers bounce back after a disappointing defeat against the Eagles last week? The Niners have dropped both of their home games, and though last week's loss to Philadelphia could be explained by a combination of injuries and a hangover from a long stay out east, they should have that out of their system and could be welcoming back more key pieces. The Dolphins, meanwhile, have to make one of the league's longest trips for this one. If the Niners fall to 2-3 before entering the meat of their schedule, their postseason hopes could slip away sooner rather than later. Bold prediction: Dolphin running back Matt Breida. Matt Breida breaks off a 50-plus yard touchdown against his former team. Breida has had only one play over 11 yards so far this year in a surprisingly limited role, but he has started to show more of his explosiveness and figures to have a bigger role in this game against a banged-up 49er defense. Breida spent the first 3 years of his career with the 49ers before being traded for a fifth-round pick in a draft weekend deal. And though he doesn't have any animosity toward his former team, it's likely he'll want to prove they made a mistake. Stat to know, 49ers tight end George Kittle posted 183 receiving yards last week for his ninth career game of 100-plus yards, but he has never had consecutive games with at least 100 receiving yards. What to know for fantasy, Miami wide receiver Devontae Parker's yardage total has increased each week this season, and he has 21.8 more points through 4 weeks this season than he did during his 2019 breakout year. Betting Nuggets, San Francisco is 6-11-1 against the spread at home over the past 3 seasons. San Francisco, big FPI favorite, 78.7%, just about 79% going with San Fran. No surprise here. I'm going with San Fran as well. And I think it's going to be another close one. I think Miami will hang with San Fran, MF, but I think San Fran will ultimately get it done. 27-23, San Francisco over Miami. So nothing more to say. We move on to our 425 games. And here's the game that I think we can make an argument for number 2 game of the week here, because I think these two teams deserve the respect, because these two teams, you can make an argument, are maybe the 2 biggest surprises in the NFL this year. Both of these teams are 3-1, and they definitely deserve it here. So it's going to be the Indianapolis Colts squaring off against the Cleveland Browns. at Cleveland Browns Stadium in Cleveland, the Dog Pound. This will be over on CBS, 4:25 kickoff, and it will be Spiro Dedes and Adam Archuleta on the call. Cleveland, and here's a you might want to consider this a pick'em game because Cleveland's only favored by a 1-point favorite for Cleveland. That's how even these teams are. The Colts lead the all-time series 15-14. The Colts have won the last 3 meetings in this series, including the last one in Cleveland, 2014. Indy won. Indy escapes 25-24. The Browns, the Browns have not beaten the Colts at home. Last time they did that, you got to go all the way back to 1988. Cleveland beat Indianapolis at home. That was at the old Dog Pound at the Municipal Stadium, 23-17 back in their glory days of Bernie Kosar and all of them. So with all that, let's get into this Indy Cleveland game, sleeper game of the week. No question about this. What to watch for? Cleveland's NFL leading running game, now without Nick Chubb, is up against Indy's top 5 run defense. This should be a litmus test for both sides in a true matchup of strength against strength. Bold prediction, the Colts will give up 125 yards rushing. Indianapolis will keep the Browns' rushing offense in check most of the game, regardless of whether the Colts have linebacker Darius Leonard with a groin. But Indy will give up one big chunk run that will wind up hurting it in the fourth quarter. Stat to know, Colts receiver T.Y. Hilton has now gone 15 straight games with fewer than 100 receiving yards, dating back to 2018. It's the longest streak of his career. His last game with 100-plus yards came with Andrew Luck at quarterback. What to know for fantasy? Browns wideout Odell Beckham Jr.'s 38.4 PPR points last week led all receivers and ranked 3rd across all positions. But can he sustain the success? He hasn't had consecutive 25-point games since weeks 13 and 14 of the 2015 season when he was with the Giants. Betting nugget, Indianapolis has had 3 straight games go under the total, and it has covered all 3 games. Cleveland, this is how close it is, folks. The FPI has Cleveland only by 50.2%. 50.2%. Just barely going with Cleveland. I'm going with the Cleveland Browns to win this game as well. Close game. And I'm going to go for, I'm going to say it'll be a very close game. I'm going to say 21-20. Cleveland ekes out Indianapolis in what I feel will be a very fun and entertaining game between the 2 biggest surprises in the NFL this year. And I didn't expect either of these teams to be this good at this point. So nothing more to say. MF, because of this, I think they deserve the respect. I think we should put this as our number 2 game of the week. Both of these teams are 3-1. I did not expect either of these teams to be this good. What a fun one we're going to have here.
Yeah, no, this is going to be a great matchup. This is going to be a very fun matchup, too. And Cleveland coming off a big win over the Dallas Cowboys. And really, you want to talk about shaking it up in the NFL. I don't think nobody saw that coming. But they did it. They got the job done. They did what they had to do. And they won the game. So, I mean, it was an amazing victory. It was an amazing win. And now the question becomes, where do we go from here? I kind of feel like this is a great opportunity for Cleveland. And let me tell you, if Baker Mayfield has turned it around, if Odell Beckham has turned it around, they are the most lethal combination in all of the NFL. And yeah, there's a little bit of some knocks on Phillip Rivers and Indy because of the mistakes that they make, the interceptions, whatever, the turnovers, the whole 9 yards. The defense does hang with them and keep them alive for the most part. But at the end of the day, I'm with you, Anthony. I got to go with Cleveland. I think Cleveland will eke this one out. 24-21 is my final score. The Cleveland Browns shockingly goes to 4-1. Anthony, it's yours.
I know. Number 2 game of the week. Is that okay with you, MF? I think they deserve the respect. So
I'll give it. Yeah, no problem with it. Good call.
Yeah, and we'll drop Vegas and KC to 3. So that's all I can say on that. These teams deserve the respect. So you heard it here. So all right, let's get on to our next 425 game. A game that you would normally see on Fox, but then again, this game used to be on CBS back in the day when back when they had the NFC package. But but this has been cross-flexed over to CBS for the first time in a very long time. The New York Giants squaring off against the Dallas Cowboys, AT&T Stadium, Jerry World in Arlington, Texas, over on CBS. And believe it or not, hello, friends. Yes, Jim Nantz, Tony Romo, and Tracy Wolfson, they will have the call of this one. Dallas opening up as an 8.5-point favorite. And we know the history of these two. Dallas leads the all-time series 68-45 with 2 ties. And Dallas has owned the Giants. They have swept the Giants each of the last 3 years. The Giants have not won in Dallas since 2016, 20-19 win, but it has been all Dallas at home against the Giants, including a 35-17 beatdown last year. So MF, I mean, the Giants still looking for that first win. It got ugly after the Ram game last week. Golden Tate and Jalen Ramsey basically went full out WWE. I mean, they absolutely, it was like they were possessed. It's like they wanted to kill each other, for God's sakes. And then Dallas, tough loss, but we got to talk about Dak Prescott, man. Dak Prescott. Look at these numbers. These are Madden numbers, for goodness sakes.
But the thing is, it doesn't matter if you don't win the game. If you don't win the game, all those matters, everything that you said, it really doesn't matter on anything. So, yeah, I just want to say that there's really nothing more to add. So, yeah, it doesn't, whatever you want to say, it is what it is. But I think Dallas will bounce back. They got to bounce back. This is a must win. And there's a lot of people talking about Dallas and the whole 9 yards. So there's a lot of pressure. Dallas, this is Dallas's moment. If they don't win this game, I don't know what to say. I think the Cowboys will win it. There's really nothing more to add. Anthony, I'm going with Dallas to win. They have to win this game. This is must win for them.
Absolutely must win. And I'll even take it a step further. If they lose this game, it would be inexcusable if they lose. I mean, against this Giant team, this terrible Giant team.
I hate to say this, but if Dallas loses to the Giants,
McCarthy's in trouble.
I think, it will be an instant hot seat on Mike McCarthy, and there's going to be calls for him to be fired immediately.
And don't be surprised if Derek Ferrer is leading that brigade.
Pretty much. There's quite a few Cowboys fans that I know, and there hasn't been enough there hasn't been you haven't heard people come out of it publicly, but trust me, privately, there's been some rumblings coming from Dallas. So yeah, there's some rumblings going around.
Absolutely. And how cool is this, MF, to have the Giants and Cowboys on CBS for the first time since the Summer All in Madden days?
Dude, it's going to feel so weird, but it's going to feel like tradition. It's going to feel awesome. I can't wait.
And you could have made an argument for this to be the Zonk game, but the only reason why Jacksonville and Houston's the Zonk because there's way much more history with these two. So I give them the nod here. So they just avoided the Zonk game here, But anyways, what to watch? And one other storyline. Jason Garrett returning to Dallas as the Giants offensive coordinator. Let's not forget that. And that's what we're going to watch for here. What to watch for? New York Giants offensive coordinator Jason Garrett's unit needs to get going against the Dallas defense. In their past 3 games, the Cowboys defense has allowed 4, 5, and 6 touchdowns to Atlanta, Seattle, and Cleveland, respectively. The Giants have scored 3 touchdowns in their first 4 games, but the Cowboys' defense might be the perfect slump buster. Bold prediction, Dallas wide receiver Michael Gallup tops 100 yards with 2 touchdowns. Forget that Gallup is coming off a quiet game with 2 catches and 58 yards against the Falcons. The Giants' defensive weakness is that number 2 cornerback across from James Bradbury. Whether it's Isaac Yiadom or Ryan Lewis out there, expect Dak Prescott to exploit the matchup, leading to a big day for Gallup. Stat to know, the Giants have just 306 rushing yards this season, second worst in the NFL and the 8th fewest total through 4 games in franchise history. Only twice have they been held under 350 rushing yards through 5 games, 1942 and 2013. What to know for fantasy? Prescott's torrid pace cannot be overstated. But don't forget that there are only 6 quarterbacks, Prescott being one of them, to have scored more fantasy points than the Cowboys have allowed to the position. Betting nugget, Dallas is 10-2 against the spread against the NFC East over the past 3 seasons. Dallas overwhelming FPI favorite, 79.4%. I'm going with the Dallas Cowboys to win this game. Closer than you think. I'm going to go 31-24. Dallas beats the Giants. So nothing more to say. Sunday Night Football on NBC up next. The Minnesota Vikings squaring off against the Seattle Seahawks, CenturyLink Field in Seattle, the 12th man. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Michelle Tafoya. They will be on the call. Seattle opening up as a 7-point favorite. Can't say I'm surprised with that. And the series history, I want to say it favors Seattle. And it does lead. It does. Seattle does lead the all-time series 11-5. Seattle has absolutely owned Minnesota. They have won 6 consecutive meetings, including that infamous wild card playoff game in that sub-zero temperatures when Minnesota was playing at the University of Minnesota Stadium. But they last met a year ago. They had an amazing 5-star classic of a game on Sunday Night Football. Seattle won 37-30, outlasting Minnesota. Week 13 of last year, I believe. Minnesota has not won in Seattle since 2006. That was a 31-13 final, but it has been all Seattle since then. Minnesota hasn't beaten Seattle since 2009. So, but anyways, Sunday Night Football. Let's get into this. But actually, I think I start this one off. So here we go. What to watch for? Can Seattle quarterback Russell Wilson continue his historic start and his excellence in prime time? He has thrown 16 touchdown passes this season, tied for the most in NFL history through a team's first 4 games, and he has a combined 26-7-1 record over his career in Sunday night, Monday night, and Thursday night games. Bold predictions: Seattle achieving its first 5-0 start in franchise history is not that bold. You know what is? Wilson and the Seahawks accomplishing that feat in spite of Vikings wideouts Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen each scoring a touchdown and posting over 100 yards receiving. Seattle's defense has allowed 94 catches and 1,345 yards to receivers in the first 4 games of the season, and that trend is set to continue this week. It's going to take Wilson another shootout to beat the Vikings on Sunday Night Football. Stats to know: Minnesota running back Dalvin Cook has 424 rushing yards this season, the most in the NFL. Highest total for a Viking player through 5 games in the past 20 seasons is 607 by Adrian Peterson in 2007. What to know for fantasy? Cook's touch count has increased each week this season, and he ranks as RB3 despite ranking 16th in expected fantasy points per rush. Betting nugget: Vikings quarterback Kirk Cousins is 6-15-1 against the spread in primetime games in his career, 7-14 outright. Seattle, the FPI favorite, 66.5% going for Seattle. I'm going with Seattle as well. Give me Seattle in another shootout, man. 38-31, Seattle will outlast Minnesota in an equally entertaining game like we had a year ago in Week 13, also on a Sunday night. So not much more to say here, MF. Seattle, they barely escaped Miami. They're still undefeated. Is this the week they lose? Can Minnesota make it 2 in a row after they finally got their first win against Houston? We'll find out here.
We're going to find out, but man, you know what? The thing was with Miami, what they couldn't do was they could stop them. They did well with the run, but they got bombed through the air. And that's Russell Wilson. I'm sorry, Anthony. I just don't see how Minnesota could even hang with them, especially with the air attack is going to be a miss. Down the line, it can go either way. But I just don't know how this is going to end. I just think that right now, I gotta say, I think Seattle will find out a way. They'll figure it out. I got Seattle winning, so nothing more to add. Seattle wins. On to the first of 2 Monday Nighters.
Spoiler alert. Yep, you heard MF. For the second straight week and 3rd time this season. Now, before this whole COVID thing started, there was only 1 week in the entire year where we would have multiple Monday night games, and that would be opening week. But because COVID has run wild like it's done for the last several months, we have it here again this week. And this time it's a pure doubleheader because it's going to be on the same network. 2 games on the same network for the price of 1. How about this? And we're going to start it off Monday night. Well, Monday afternoon. It's going to be more like Monday afternoon football, if you ask me, because it's a 5 o'clock kickoff. The Denver Broncos squaring off against the New England Patriots at Gillette Stadium in Foxborough. And get this, because they were such a hit in week 1, Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit are coming back. How about
Hey!
Yes. Fresh off another great call tonight, even though the game was not as exciting as we had hoped. With Clemson in Miami, Clemson whitewashed them. We'll get into that Thursday. But yes, Chris Fowler, Kirk Herbstreit, and Laura Rutledge, they will be in Foxborough on Monday afternoon. And just give me one moment here. I got to go on my thing here. Yeah, of course we get a refresh, of course. But yes, I just found out the news. The news came out on my announcer dirt sheet site called awfulannouncing.com. They broke the news that Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit were going to be on the call for this Bronco Patriot game. New England opening up as an 11-point favorite. Denver does lead the all-time series 26-22. The Patriots, though, have won the last 2 meetings. Their last meeting was in Denver, 2017. New England whitewashed them 41-16. Their last meeting in New England was 2014. New England won 43-21. Denver has not won in New England since 2006. That was a 17-7 final. So, okay. MF, this game, when the schedule first came out, this was supposed to be a 1 o'clock Sunday game. Then it got pushed to 4:25. And now, because of COVID mania continuing to run wild, a 5 o'clock kickoff on a late Monday afternoon, Monday twilight football. Let's call it that.
Yeah.
But Denver and New England, though, will Cam Newton play? Will Stephon Gilmore play? Belichick's saying they're taking it hour by hour, day by day. But if not, Jarrett Stidham would get the start. But New England's still an 11-point favorite. How is that?
Because of the fact of what Denver is on the other side. Denver is definitely not a good team. They lost Drew Lock. He's not playing. That's their starting quarterback. They're going through a backup themselves. Running game with Melvin Gordon. All right, you can get somebody. You get some receiver help. Defensively, they're definitely weak because Von Miller is injured. So that's why you got too many injuries on Denver's side. And with New England, if Jarrett Stidham doesn't play, all right, fine. If Cam Newton doesn't play, all right, fine. If Jarrett Stidham plays, you still got weapons with the Patriots, and you still got a vaunted defense. Now, Gilmore getting COVID is bad, and I don't understand. He's asymptomatic, so he should be out. He should not be playing. I don't understand why they're teetering this game or trying to say, oh, he might not. No, he's out. There's no discussion here. New England wins because of the fact that they still got so many weapons that they could beat you with, where Denver, they needed all their guys to be healthy just to even have a shot. New England wins, and they're at home too. They're virtually indestructible when they play at Gillette. So no, I got the Patriots winning easily. Florio, it's yours.
Yeah, absolutely. But what to watch for? The Patriots had an unconventional week going all virtual on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, meaning there was no on-field practice. How does practice execution become game reality when there is no practice? Meanwhile, the Broncos also have had a long week after playing on Thursday night against the Jets in week 4. Advantage goes to Denver in the rest department. Bold prediction, either Broncos tight end Jake Butt or running back Philip Lindsay will collect his first touchdown reception of the season. Why? Because they'll have to. Patriots coach Bill Belichick has made a career out of removing the number 1 and often number 2 options in the passing game to test the quarterback's patience and ability to work through the reads. Only Seattle and Russell Wilson's 5-touchdown binge in week 2 was able to consistently get its top targets free. Both Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf had touchdown catches in that game. If the Broncos can't get some of the quote-unquote other guys into the end zone, it'll be a difficult evening. Stat to know, Patriots defensive end Chase Winovich ranks fifth in the NFL with a 29.5% pass rush win rate. An ESPN metric using NFL Next Gen stats and leads the league with a 40% PRWR against double teams. What's to know for fantasy? Julian Edelman registered 52.2% of his points through 4 games in Week 2 at Seattle. Betting nugget, New England is 10-0 against the spread in tilts that follow fewer than 6 days of rest since the start of the 2016 season. New England is the favorite with the FPI 60.2%. New England wins 24-13 over Denver, so nothing more to say. Let's get into your regularly scheduled Monday Night Football game with the 8:15 kickoff. The Los Angeles Chargers squaring off against the New Orleans Saints from the Mercedes-Benz, as of now, from the Mercedes-Benz Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana. Steve Levy, Brian Griese, Louis Riddick, and Lisa Salters. New Orleans opening up as an 8-point favorite. The Chargers lead the all-time series 7-5, but the Saints have won the last 3 meetings in a row against the Chargers, including a wild 35-34 game in their last meeting in 2016. Last meeting in New Orleans was 2012. New Orleans won 31-24. The Chargers last beat the Saints in New Orleans. You got to go all the way back to 1997. That was a 20-6 final. So that was when they were the then San Diego Chargers. But anyways, Chargers and Saints, second half of this Monday Night Football doubleheader. Here we go. No, I get this one. That's right. All right. What to watch for? This will be a fun quarterback duel between 20-year veteran Drew Brees and rookie Justin Herbert. But what really defines this matchup, unfortunately, is the overwhelming number of injuries that have plagued both sides. The Saints could potentially get Michael Thomas back from his Week 1 ankle injury. Meanwhile, the Chargers just lost dynamic running back Austin Eckler for 4 to 6 weeks with a hamstring injury. Bold prediction, the Chargers could get a win now that Herbert has been named the regular starting quarterback. He will go into the game with confidence, but the Chargers need to stop beating themselves with turnovers. Stat to know, Drew Brees was 5 of 8 for 111 yards and a touchdown on throws of 15-plus yards downfield last week. In the first 3 games of the season, he had just 7 such completions and 0 touchdowns. What to know for fantasy? Saints running back Alvin Kamara has been a top 10 running back every week this season and is pacing for 320 touches. Current career high is 275. Betting nugget, New Orleans is 6-9 against the spread over the past 5 seasons when favored by 7 or more points at home. New Orleans, 76.2% favorite with the FPI. Saints eke this one out, 29-23, New Orleans over the LA Chargers. So nothing more to say. MF, as far as I know, this one is still slated for the Dome. Is that still the case, or has there been any rumblings about a possible location switch? I know you talked about this the other day.
Well, I talked about it the other day, but as of right now, I haven't not heard any switching or anything of it. As of now, it is supposed to be at the Superdome. I guess the Storm is out of there. I think the reason why they did it was because they were, I think, more afraid of what was going to happen. And yeah, I mean, it's going to be very interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. But yeah, I'm going to go with New Orleans. I do believe they're going to win the game. There's really nothing more to add. And with that said, it's yours.
Well, we've always heard we always had the expression of, "Are you ready for some football?" Well, are you ready for some Tuesday night football, MF? And nonetheless, it's our game of the week.
Yes, it is.
If you can believe it. Originally supposed to be a 1:00 Sunday game, moved to Tuesday night at 7 p.m. on CBS. Another bonus CBS game. How about this? My team, the Buffalo Bills, squaring off against the Tennessee Titans, Nissan Stadium, Nashville, on CBS. And on the call for this one, it'll be Tom McCarthy, Jay Feely, and AJ Ross. And as soon as I can get it up here, Buffalo opening up as an 8.5-point favorite. Wow, I like that. Very encouraging. And as soon as I can get it up here, a lot of history here. Tennessee leads the all-time series 27-17. However, the Bills have won the last 3 meetings in a row, and Buffalo has actually won the last 2 meetings in a row in Nashville, including a 14-7 win last year. Tennessee has not beaten Buffalo at home since 2009. That was a 41-17 whitewash. So, all right. Now, MF, we all know the Tennessee Titans. There is a technical statistical category that they lead the league in, but it's one that you do not want to lead the league in, and that is positive COVID tests. I mean, they have had more of those. They've had more of those than anybody. I mean, what is it, like 23 or something like that?
27 at the last count that I got.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's been horrible.
That's a stat. That's a stat you do not want to lead the league in. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
And but nonetheless, though, Tennessee, Buffalo, battle of the unbeatens. Can Tennessee somehow weather this storm, or can the Buffalo Bills keep what I still believe is a possible season of destiny? Can they keep it alive? I think they can.
This is the biggest test for Buffalo. This is a huge test for the Bills. I mean, this is the moment that's going to define their season, because finally they have a team that they need to fight and deal with. And this is a team that can easily win. This is not going to be an easy game for Buffalo, because you got Derrick Henry you got to talk about, you got Ryan Tannehill, you got a receiving core, because it looks like A.J. Brown is going to be back, because Corey Davis was one of the players that did test positive for COVID. So, I don't know. I honestly think I gotta go. I'm gonna go with Buffalo to win, but I'm not overly convinced. Let's say that. I would not be stunned if Tennessee wins this. I'm not. So, nothing more to say. Buffalo, slight favorite for me, but like I said, not fully convinced. Florio, what's yours?
Fair enough. That's fair enough. I can certainly understand. I got that concern myself. I mean, this is without question our biggest test. So, even though we've only beaten one good team all year, and that was the Rams. But then again, hey, give the Raiders credit. The Raiders hung with us last week, but we ultimately got out of that beautiful Allegiant Stadium with a win. So, but anyways, here we go. Buffalo, Tennessee, our game of the week. What to watch for? The Titans are without several key players, including Adam Humphries, Jeffrey Simmons, and Corey Davis, who have been placed on the reserve/COVID-19 list, and the team hasn't practiced or been in its facility to prepare for this game. Keep an eye on how they start the game after having so much time off. If Tennessee gets off to a slow start, this could get ugly quickly. Bold prediction: the Bills finally get loose in the running game for at least 150 yards. They rank 28th in the league in rushing yards a game, but the Titans rank 29th in rushing yards allowed. It's a true matchup of a stoppable force, meaning a movable object. But Buffalo's ranking seems more like an outlier, given its top 10 finish last season and improved backfield. Stat to know: Tennessee quarterback Ryan Tannehill is averaging 11.2 yards per attempt with play action, 4th, which has 5.9 per attempt without play action, 28th. What to know for fantasy? Last week, Buffalo quarterback Josh Allen tied the longest streak in Bills history with his 4th straight game of 280 passing yards and multiple touchdown passes. The only other instance of that for the Bills, Drew Bledsoe in 2002. Let that sink in for a minute. Drew Bledsoe, not Jim Kelly. Drew Bledsoe. Not even Jim Kelly did what Josh Allen's doing. That's amazing. Betting nugget: Tennessee is the 3rd team in the Super Bowl era to start 3-0 straight up and 0-3 against the spread. Buffalo is the FPI favorite, 52.4%. Close for 3 quarters, but I think Buffalo will pull away in the 4th. I got my Buffalo Bills winning this one, 35-21. Buffalo beats Tennessee and keeps what I consider our season of destiny alive. So, really nothing more to say. So with that will put the ball on this edition of NFL Saturday. We want to thank you all so very much. One other thing we need to address: Detroit Lions, Green Bay Packers on bye this week. It's not COVID. It was their original bye week. So just want to get that out of the system. So next week here on NFL Saturday, our game of the week, hands down, the Kansas City Chiefs against the Buffalo Bills. Oh, my goodness. It was supposed to be a Thursday game. Now it's been bumped to next Sunday. So can't wait for that. And of course, the other big game, the Green Bay Packers against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You can also make an argument for the LA Rams and the San Francisco 49ers. And how about the Cleveland Browns and the Pittsburgh Steelers renewing hostilities? So few good matchups next week. So that's it. So we'll next be with you on Monday night for Ridiculously Raw, as we will run down night 2 of the WWE draft and review Monday Night Raw as always. And my Tony's take on 205 Live and Impact Wrestling as always. Wednesday, we have Wednesday Night Mayhem. MF will host that. AEW Dynamite and NXT. Huge AEW Dynamite show, the anniversary show. All the gold is on the line. Can't wait to get into that. Thursday, College Football Thursday. The game of the next week, hands down, Georgia and Alabama. That's going to be a knockdown, drag out. It's going to be great. LSU in Florida also on the schedule. And then Friday, Cerebral Smack Talk. Friday night, SmackDown. And then this show next week. So that's it. So until Monday night for Ridiculously Raw, it's Anthony Florio here, signing off from my elite panel in spirit. Good old MF Michael Fletcher, Michael Bullock, D.D. Whitson, and always and forever Derek Ferrari. You know the routine. Everybody, thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, go to Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed couple of days. And until Monday night for Ridiculously Raw, you'll be watching Week 5 of Strictly Sports NFL Saturday right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube.com. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long. Bye, everybody. Bye.